2 wheels, no roll bar, almost 200 miles an hour. It's pro stock motorcycle time here at the Summit Racing Equipment Nationals. Weekend stop at the NHRA Meliello Drag Racing Series. Eddie Craywick was #1 after session 1, but in session 2, here comes Jerry Savoie and John Hall. Jerry on the Suzuki that's struggling, right? Oh no, Jerry goes 86.5 to go up 8 positions to the #2 spot.
Very nice pass by Jerry. Next up, it's the teammates, Andrew Hines and Eddie Craywick. Eddie has had the bike lately. Andrew Hines makes a nice run. He runs a 691, but look at Eddie Craywick at 684. Between the two of these, they have combined for 4 of the 7 Wallies here in Norwalk.
They know how to get down Summit Motorsports Park. Behind Eddie and Jerry comes Chaz Kennedy, who made a great run in the 3rd session to move up in the #3 spot. 2 Aranas, followed by Matt Smith in the #8 spot.
Mixing it up a little bit here, you see Adam Arana, Andrew Hines, Andy Smith, some pretty big names in that bottom 8. Elvira Carlson on the bump spot with a 6:98 elapsed time.
Justin Finley and Joe DeSantis not yet qualified. Wendell Daniels had problems and had to pull out with his Suzuki. So that will bring us now to Elvira Carlson. Will be alongside of Jimmy Underdahl. That is Elvira, who rode a bucking Bronco at our last event. The 18-year-old from Sweden. Started racing pro stock motorcycle across the pond when she was 15, wants to come here stateside. Jimmy Underdahl, Mike, is the Suzuki that we've been expecting to be doing what, well, Jerry Savoie did yesterday.
Yeah, they just really have underperformed, and no pun intended there for Jim Underdahl, but I talked to his dad, Greg, and he just said, you know, we've just really been struggling. They came out at the beginning of the season and testing looked very good, and they just really haven't been able to get a handle on it. Had some mechanical problems, but they're hoping they have that all figured out.
17 consecutive races without a round win. Stat guy.
Coming into this race, Jimmy Underdahl had the highest qualified Suzuki. He was 4th at Atlanta. Jerry Savoie currently 2nd. We'll see if it holds up.
Red light, don't pay attention to that. It's all about the time. Elvira's out of it. Jimmy going to try to get off of the #15 spot, but he's going to stay there. Elvira will qualify 16th as Finley and DeSantis have already made their 4th session pass and will not qualify. So the fields are set. It's just who will race who. But the most prestigious tennis tournament in the world continues with the Gentlemen's Championship. Roger Federer rides his 8th Wimbledon title, but to do that, he has got to beat top-ranked Novak Djokovic. Sunday at 9 o'clock, that's when you can check it out on ESPN. Beautiful night here in Norwalk, Ohio. Temperatures settling into the mid-70s here. You couldn't ask for anything better. This was once a racetrack a couple years ago, Mike, that was turning on the temperature gauges from the concrete at 140 plus. It's gorgeous tonight.
I was talking with an old friend of mine who's been coming here since the early 90s, and like he said, I never can remember a time in Norwalk, Ohio that the weather was this nice, period.
It is gorgeous. Jerry Savoie, we mentioned with the Suzuki, is #2. Jimmy Underdahl with his Suzuki is qualified 15th, but there's only one Suzuki that can be found in the top 10 in points. It's Steve Johnson, who won Gainesville, but since then has dropped to 10th in the standings. Batman, of course, that is Sean Gannon, his Buell.
Watch Steve Johnson do his burnout. He's got to be encouraged by what he saw with Jerry Savoie. Both of them running the new Vance & Hines bigger engine. Steve came out and ran well with it in Gainesville and then just really has struggled with it since then. So obviously we know the horsepower is there to make a good run, but just Steve has not been able to put together recently.
353rd race in pro stock motorcycle. There have only been 362. You know, I still think of Steve Johnson as a young kid. How about this? Still the oldest, now the oldest pro stock winner there after Gainesville. He's already 53, Mike. We're getting old, all of us. My goodness.
Yes, we are. But Steve is definitely still a kid at heart.
And then there's Sean Gann, who's 33, and well, he's a wide open character to say the least. Gann 12th, Johnson 14th. Last chance to improve.
106, 60-foot times for both riders, but look at Sean Gann pull away.
696.8. Not going to be enough to move him into a better qualifying position, but he's got a 98, a 93, and a 96 on the board. He's consistent. Ooh, look at the sparks coming out of the back.
Trying to get that thing stopped. He may, I don't look like he's going to get stopped okay, but boy, he was hard on the brake.
Look at that rotor glowing. Gary Gerald.
Well, we check into the top end here. Elvira Carlson for the first time making a field in the pro stock motorcycle competition. I'm sure that feels very good. It's a dream that you've been chasing. How satisfying is this moment?
Yeah, I'm so happy. This so cool. This my mole, so I'm happy now to qualify in. Yeah.
It's a lot better than that ride you had a couple of weeks ago when you almost lost it. It was a crazy ride, but
Yeah.
welcome to your first time around.
Thank
That's
you.
great. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Norwalk, Ohio. Who'd have thought that a woman from Sweden would come here, and this would be the place she remembers as the first time she raced in America in Pro Stock Motorcycle. Well, for Angie Smith, the punchline to the question, or the answer to the trivia question, is Epping, New Hampshire. That's where she had to go to get her first win, the 15th female winner now. It has amassed 102 national event Wally. She'll be in the lane opposite of Michael Ray. Angie with a good bike lately. Michael Ray, though, trying to find his way a little bit for that star machine. Michael was the #1 qualifier last year. This year struggling to get better than 13th. Not going to happen. Angie stays 11th, 6, 96.8. Pro Stock Motorcycles fourth session rolls on. And of course, Funny Car will come your way. Del Worsham, the #1 qualifier, currently with a 4 flat. We'll talk to him when we come back to Ohio. Tonight, if so, we'll start handing out some more $10,000 checks. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Right now, though, it's Andrew Hines and Adam Arana.
Now you see a 699 for Andrew Hines, Adam with a 697. Conditions out there are not quite as good as we thought they would be, as a number of these motorcycles are not being able to step up yet.
Right now, though, it's about 2 wheels. Matt Smith, #3 in Mike Dunn's power rankings, up against John Hall. John Hall lost in the semis last year racing Matt Smith, his teammate and tuner. Matt Smith, though, the defending champ, 7:03, a subpar run for him. Bit of a surprise with that bike.
Yeah, he's been struggling a little bit with it. He's going to be #8 qualifier. John Hall, though, made a nice pass. 689 almost matches his 688 pass that has him in the #7 spot.
We'll tune into ESPN on Sunday as Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers face Evan Longoria and the Rays. Tigers lead the AL Central. The Rays have been struggling a little bit this year, but Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, features the Rays and the Tigers at 8 o'clock on ESPN. Both of them looking for a win. Scotty Polacek now comes to the starting line against Hector Arana Jr., who started for #1 for the first time ever in his career at this race in 2011. And Mike, you have him #1 in your power rankings this week.
Yeah, but after Friday, I was kind of questioning myself about putting Hector Arana Jr. in #1. Didn't even get down the racetrack in both of his first qualifying attempts, but then he came back in session #3, was able to run a 687.3. You take a look at the power rankings. Hector Arana Jr. is coming off that win in Chicago, but he had a very good motorcycle. Could run head-to-head with Eddie Craig. Eddie definitely has a great bike. Matt Smith is third.
.685.9 for Hector Arana Jr. Say hello to your new #2 qualifier, and a nice 3-position improvement for Junior.
And that's exactly what they wanted, because they definitely, like I said, have been struggling, and be able to step up and make the kind of run we know they're able to. And take a look at who's here.
Hey, that's Larry Nance,
my old Mopar teammate.
You bet, for the Phoenix Suns, and of course Cleveland Cavaliers. We are in Ohio with the final 2 pair of Pro Stock motorcycles coming up next.
Dave,
that's probably the simplest thing to do. That is Hector Arana Sr., the world's most interesting Pro Stock motorcycle rider. He'll be alongside of Chaz Kennedy, the 19-year-old, now 20, Rookie of the Year candidate that made a big move in the 3rd session. He jumped up in the standings.
Oh, Hector's on a single, and boy, that was not a pretty launch. He's been having problems a lot lately. Obviously, when that bike makes a good run, he can lay down the number, but that was ugly.
Well, Hector Arana Sr., who said he got his confidence back after going all the way to the finals at the last race. Boy, you could see he was expecting that bike to launch a little sooner. Like he almost slammed his chin into the tail tank.
You could see he was going down long before the bike left. He was expecting that thing to already be moving, and it wasn't, and it just was not doing what it was supposed to.
With that confidence back, can Hector duplicate what he did here in 2008 when he won his first ever Pro Stock motorcycle race over Craig Treble? That's what he's hoping. It's the confidence that he's relying on. Next pair, final pair here as we wrap up the 4th session of Pro Stock Motorcycles. We do so with Eddie Krawiec, the #2 power ranked rider on the Harley, up against that sizzling Suzuki of Jerry Savoy.
Eddie Krawiec looking to stay #1 for the 5th race in a row. When I look back in the record books, the last driver in Pro Stock Motorcycle to qualify #1 at 5 in a row or more was his crew chief. And get this, guys, how about 1999? Matt Hines, I called him Matt the Missile back in the day.
That was Matt giving him a pat in the back, telling him to get going. Boy, Jerry's been impressive lately. 6th in Chicago, 3rd right now.
Suzuki looks good.
Oh, you can see the shift light on Jerry Suzuki. That was pretty cool to see. 688 for Eddie, 690 for Jerry. Not going to change anything but the best Suzuki start of the season for Savoy. That's what he's been able to accomplish this weekend. For Eddie Krawiec, pole position number 18 for the 3-time series champion. Eddie Krawiec will start race day from #1.
In Alexis DeJoria's pit, and earlier this week on Instagram, she posted this: "Don't underestimate me. I know more than I say, think more than I speak, and notice more than you realize." Alexis, why did that stand out so much in your mind that you wanted to share it with the world?
Oh, God. Well, you know, I don't always post stuff like that, but, I mean, if they really stick out or hit home for me, you know, I feel like I should share it with people. I guess it kind of fit really well that weekend. You know, last weekend in Chicago, I got called out by a few people that kind of disappointed me, and I'm not going to name names because I'm not even going to give it that, you know, I guess give them that, you know, excitement in their lives to think that I'm actually giving them the time of day. But yeah, you know what, I've been doing this for a minute. You know, I haven't been out here for a long time, but you know, I think I'm pretty respectful of people, and you know, I'm a good sportsman, so I don't know, I'm quiet, but that doesn't mean, you know, don't take my kindness for weakness is all I'm saying.
Well, right now she is qualified in position 12. The car's already ready to go for the final qualifying assault.
No arguing. Alexis DeJoria is a driven young lady. The Pro Stock Motorcycle Ladder presented by Lucas Oil shows Eddie Krawiec and Elvira Karlsson. Probably the first time Eddie's raced anybody from Sweden. And then there's Matt Smith that'll race Adam Arana. Hector, his father, will race Sean Gann, Batman.
Other side of the ladder, Hector Arana Jr., #2 qualifier after that great pass in the final session, got all together, will go up against Jimmy Underdahl. And how about John Hall and Andrew Hines, 2 very powerful motorcycles going at it with John Hall having lane choice.
Check in here with Hector Arana Jr. Yesterday, pretty much a disaster, I guess, as far as you and your bike were concerned. What's the difference from yesterday to today?
You know, my brother didn't get in Chicago, so we took my back tire off the bike, put it on his, and just trying to eliminate all, you know, possibilities on his bike, anything going wrong. So, and therefore, I put a new tire on mine, didn't work. Then we tried an older tire, that didn't work either. So then I went back to the tire I was running earlier in the season, and we seem to be doing good now.
Well, congratulations on a nice pass.
You know, good news, Junior not only in, but Adam also back this weekend. Qualified.